All right. Text on Edge to 33239 to become an Edge Insider. Ryan, guess what?
What?
Sign up to become an Edge Insider. You can get concert information.
I'll do that right away.
Hey. Updates on new music and artists and Edge news when it comes to the Edge on air.com. Hey, and not all cell carriers participate like all things in life. So, and there are
probably Sprint.
Yeah.
Is it Sprint or T-Mobile?
God, I hate Sprint with all my
not T-Mobile.
heart.
U.S. Cellular, I think, is worse.
Sprint's just the worst.
Yeah.
Don't even get me going on them. So the deal is text on Edge to 33239. All right. What is going on with everything in Ferguson? Because we have the whole outline, and I have so much to get into about it. So much on my mind. Because last night, me and my friend are watching Netflix. We had on the movie Bad Boys. But I was seeing on Twitter, they're like, you have to go to some live account that was showing it live. Because heaven forbid, Fox News or CNN have some live footage of it. Oh, no, that's too violent. It had some online webcam or something that was showing it live. That's how everyone was watching it. So we plugged it into our TV. I'm like, dude, we have to watch this. So we went from watching Bad Boys to that. It wasn't any different. It was both violent as hell. It was scary, though. Like, it's weird to think that this madness, it looks like something from overseas. It's just like 4 miles or 4 hours away in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that town's trash, but... Wait, what's up?
I mean,
the picture.
Yeah.
The picture.
Hey, what does it say? What does it say? Read it.
F the police.
And it's some guy with like an anonymous mask.
Yeah.
Because he would never want to show his face, tough guy.
So anyway, this is coming out of Ferguson, Missouri, of course. A law enforcement spokesman says a large crowd has confronted officers yelling such things as "kill the police" after a police officer fatally shot a male in the St. Louis area neighborhood. A lot of you have heard.
And now, I'm not saying that we don't need cops, because we do need them. I'm not saying,
yes, obviously.
Okay, listen. I'm not saying that all cops are bad, but there's this new precedent where they think they're badass. They think they can do whatever they want and they can just have control. And I have a lot of friends. I'm going to go out and say this. I don't care. I have a lot of friends who are African American. And every time I've been pulled over, they're in the car. And then they ask, do we have drugs in the car? Do we have booze or cocaine when we had nothing in the car?
I got a bunch of meth in the car.
So my neighbor, he's African American, and we live in April. He's been arrested 3 times for being black.
No, explain. That's hard to believe.
He went into a restaurant with a couple of his white friends. A cop pulled him aside, illegally searched his car, and arrested him.
Well, that does happen a lot. These cops think they can do whatever they want, and they pretty much can.
He's been pulled over twice, and then the cop illegally searched his car and then arrested him.
Yeah. What are you going to say?
I'm just saying, like, that seems to happen. Like, they'll just find, like, the smallest thing and then blow it out of proportion.
And then here's the worst part. Who are you going to believe? Some 20-year-old African-American kid or the cop who's been on duty for 20 years? Who are you going to believe, Ryan? Who are you going to believe? The cop or the 20-year-old kid? Who are you going to believe?
Right. Well, that's the issue.
They shot this kid 10 times. There's no reason to shoot an unarmed kid 10
times. Who had his hands up?
I don't know. I wasn't there, but here's the thing.
No, he had his hands up.
Yeah, he had his hands up.
People are saying.
The cop told him to put his hands up, and he put his hands up.
What a bunch of punks. Use a taser.
I mean, I guess technically that's not 100% true, but I mean, it's pretty certain that he.
Well, didn't his friend say
10
that?
shots is a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's no reason that he should have been shot 10 times.
That cop should be put on trial for murder.
He doesn't need to be.
He doesn't need to just be fired. He just needs to be put on trial for murder. And the police department doesn't want to release the officer because they think it's against safety purposes.
And then here's the worst part. All his cop buddies are going to have his back. The sheriff's going to have his back because these cops don't want to admit that they're dirty, that they're a bunch of thugs, too.
That they're racist.
Yeah, they're not going to admit it.
Right, and this is also, in Ferguson, Missouri. It's
not a nice area.
Right. Well, it's also, like a suburb of St. Louis. It's sort of in the South, but not necessarily, in the South. But, I feel like they can do more things down there. And like in Chicago, I don't think you'd ever see something quite like this.
It happens every night, pretty much.
Right. Well, no, but that's violence. I mean, this wasn't violence.
This was just madness, chaos. Mm-hmm. And then we were talking to Maria from the boxing show in Sportstown, and she told me that most of the people who are cops or who are politicians are white. What precedent is that showing? When
Right.
they're white and they're dealing with a black neighborhood that's like 65% black,
Right.
that's unfair.
Well, I
It
heard
shows that they're
something
racist.
where like the population of Ferguson, Missouri is something like maybe 64% African American or 60% African
And then
American.
you have mostly white people.
And 94% of the police department is white. So that's a little bit of a contrast, obviously.
Yeah, it's a big problem there. Like, think about that right now. I know that's a shotgun sound effect, but he did this 10 times. He did this 10
Are
times.
you gonna do it 10 times?
Of course not. I'm just saying, like, that's
No.
madness.
We only need to do that 5 times. That's the modest amount, right?
I mean, one would
to
probably
make
end
sure.
up killing him.
Yeah,
seriously,
exactly.
That's overkill.
Well, I mean, who knows where these shots went to?
But-
Like, were they all towards the head? Were they towards
Yeah.
the body? I
And-
don't know.
And what was he doing that was so worth killing him? That was so worth giving him a dirt nap? Was he talking smack? Oh, heaven forbid.
Or giving attitude or something, but
Oh
still,
my-
that's no reason to shoot somebody,
seriously,
especially 10 times.
You're not allowed to
Jeez.
shoot someone for that. Like, his friend said that the cop pulled him over and all asked him where they were going, and they told him where they were going, and they were like, he said it's just a couple blocks away, and then the cop like apparently shot him.
He was talking smack to us. We must shoot him 10 times. Because heaven forbid we use free speech and we talk smack.
I doubt he was even doing that though.
Right.
I think he was doing something. I'm not saying he was an
Well,
innocent kid.
obviously he was doing something for the cops to end
Maybe
up taking
taking
his
Being
life.
African American is what made him take his life.
Well, yeah, but I mean, sure, maybe he was giving attitude, maybe he was, talking back to the cops or whatever.
Who doesn't
But
talk back to the
obviously,
cops?
but obviously, that's no reason.
Like, I had to go through a checkpoint like 6 weeks ago, and I got a ticket for not having my ID on me. I talked back to the cops. Everyone does. Once you know you're going to get a ticket, you begin talking back because you're sick of them.
Right.
So, like, it's just so infuriating that this happens in America in 2014. Stop it.
Yeah. So let's see what this article has to say. St. Louis County spokesman says shots were heard at the scene Saturday afternoon in Ferguson, a few miles north of downtown St. Louis.
Yeah.
He said a couple hundred people came out of nearby apartment buildings after a Ferguson officer shot the male. He didn't identify the person or say what prompted the shooting, and we still don't necessarily know that information. He says there were no reports of additional injuries at the scene, and the crowd was under control by 5 p.m. About 60 other officers initially responded to the area. So there was about 60 officers initially when that started, and this is before all the riots broke out and
You have so
all the
many
protests.
cops. How do you let this happen if you have so many cops? There's no reason for riots to happen.
Well, and now
you
the
must
cops-
not be doing your job. You must be Chief Wiggum from The Simpsons.
Now the cops have an issue because all these people are rioting and protesting. So now, there's tear gas being thrown into crowds, and there's being all these other things being thrown into crowds. And it's
To me, tear
and,
gas.
now there's a whole bigger issue that they put on themselves.
Good.
The cops put this on themselves
By being dimwits.
by being stupid, and now they have to deal with all these other people. Now all these other people are going to start protesting whatever. I mean, who knows? I mean, there might be other people that are going to get shot eventually
Yeah.
if they're really out of line, but that's not necessarily that person's fault. It's really the cops' fault for putting it on themselves.
Yeah, I bet the combined IQ of all these cops is like 40. If you have 60 cops at the scene and you can't prevent things and you had tanks there and you had to use the like gas and like the noise preventing things where it brings people to the ground.
Oh
and you
God, those
couldn't
things
get-
are horrible.
It was annoying to listen to through the computer.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going off of. But yeah, the victim has been identified via social media as 17-year-old Michael Brown, or Mike Brown as he goes by. According to Ferguson resident LaToya Cash, he was shot 10 times by Ferguson police. 10 times. I mean, just let that sink in.
Like that's
10
just 2
times.
times that I'm doing the sound effect. That's 8 more times.
10 times. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why
I
would
wouldn't
you shoot
a
somebody?
bank robber 10 times.
No.
Like, how many
If he
times
shot him once, he was probably dead. If he aimed at like his head or something, I don't
let
understand
alone
what the 10
maybe
shots
2 or
have to
3
be.
times. They have 10
I
shots.
bet it didn't take 10 shots to kill Bin Laden.
I mean, that's
Probably
like
more.
5 or 6 seconds of just shots going off right into the guy's body. I
Yeah.
mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. So he was a 2014 graduate of Normandy High School, which is in the Ferguson, Missouri area, I'm assuming. He was scheduled to begin classes at Vatterott College on Monday. According to Dorian Johnson, he was walking with Brown when an officer confronted them and drew his weapon. So the officer drew his weapon.
Here's the thing. When you see this kid's face, the more I think about it, I don't think he was doing much. He seemed pretty harmless. He had no thugness in him.
Right.
He was a bit chubby. I'm not saying that means anything, but he wasn't like muscular and walking around like he's some hood badass. He seemed like a nice kid.
Yeah, and he probably didn't look like he was up to trouble or anything. At least I don't think he...
He's an African-American male. Let's go search him right now. We must, because we're the Ferguson police. Shut up.
Let's go check him out and then shoot him 10 times. Why not? We do that every night in Ferguson.
Yeah. So here's some quotes. He, meaning the officer, shot again, and once my friend felt that shot, he turned around and put his hands in the air, said Johnson. So that would be Mr. Brown put his hands in the air. Yeah. He started to get down, and the officer still approached with his weapon drawn and fired several more shots after the guy got down on the ground. And that is according to Dorian Johnson, who was walking with Brown.
Yeah.
So that's one, obviously, that's a reliable source.
Yeah.
He was a good kid. He didn't live around here, so he didn't live around the Ferguson area. He came to...
must have been a red flag for the cop.
Right.
To shoot him 10 times.
Right. He came to visit his grandmother who lived in the area, and she says, he came to visit me, and they did that to him for no reason. The president of the St. Louis County NAACP...
What did he have to say?
Missouri State Representative Esther Haywood released the following statement.
What does it say?
All right, it's kind of long, so...
Okay.
Well, it's not that long, but it's long enough. We are hurt to hear that yet another teenage boy has been slaughtered by law enforcement, especially in light of the recent death of Eric Garner in New York, who was killed for selling cigarettes. I didn't hear about that story.
Wait,
but
what?
Wow.
I guess that's a different story.
We'll have to get on that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We plan to do everything within our power to ensure that the Ferguson Police Department, as well as the St. Louis County Police Department, releases all details pertinent to the shooting. We strongly encourage residents to stay away from the crime scene so that no additional citizens are injured. Obviously, I think that's a good suggestion. But I mean, a lot of people are still out there protesting, and they really shouldn't. I understand what they're protesting and why they're protesting, but I just don't want anyone else to get hurt.
And then here's the worst part: they just have the worst chance. We want peace. We want peace. And then, like, when the cops show up, they run like a bunch of scared rats. If I were there, I'd be the one that's taken in. There was some old lady who was out there. I respected the hell out of her. I retweeted
Right.
it.
I just don't want people to get hurt. I mean, protesting and stuff, that's good. It makes a small difference, but it's not going to make a big difference, honestly.
And
so I don't understand why people are here, because now people are getting, hurt with tear gas, and they don't mean to be just driving through the area, and they're getting stopped, or they can't move. I just think it's a bad idea to have these people protesting, rioting, whatever you want to call it. So going on here, I have spoken directly with St. Louis County Police Chief John Belmer, and I am confident that both he and his department will ensure that the investigation is conducted properly and that all details are kept transparent. The officer who shot Brown has been placed on paid administrative leave pending an investigation.
Paid?
Here's the thing.
He's getting paid while being on leave?
Oh, of course.
He should have been fired.
Wait, who is that that's on paid leave?
The officer that shot him.
The officer who shot Brown.
Oh, yeah, of course you have to pay him. And what a joke. If this was us that shot him 10 times, we'd be in for murder. But when it's a cop, it doesn't mean anything. He
was just doing his job.
Shut up, officer douchebag. Here's the thing that annoys me so much. Just because you went through school to become a cop and you passed a test and you passed all the workout tests doesn't mean anything. There's cops that are bigger than me and you and Risky combined that are cops. Anybody can become a cop. So that should not be a reason to have the power to kill somebody just because you didn't agree with him.
Yeah, I feel like he abused his power, but...
Oh, yeah.
Well, they do that all the time.
Right. So here's some tweets from the governor of Missouri.
All these tweets are great.
Jay Nixon, last name Nixon.
And I will.
Hey, he's already off to a great start because his last name's Nixon, right? Yeah, already off to a great start, buddy. He says canceling all appearances at the Missouri State Fair to visit North St. Louis County tomorrow. Statement to follow.
Here's the thing: he wasn't there the last 2 days when the madness was going on.
He was eating corn dogs and watching the Best in Show of the pigs.
Yeah, what are you elected to do if you're not there? You're supposed to be a leader as a politician, as a governor. You're a leader. You're supposed to lead Missouri. Why are you not there?
Right.
Helping to protest. Why are you saying...
Well, someone's got to get the protests to stop, and I think the best person to do that would be the governor. So
yeah, you would hope that when he's up there, they would listen to you in peace. Like, what's more important? Like, he had to announce that he's going to skip the fair or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be expected today. You're not going to go to the weird show.
Missouri State Fair. I mean, who cares about the Missouri State Fair? I mean, that's like a week-long thing, probably. I mean,
it's a fair. You eat corn dogs and you look at a freak show. Who cares?
Why does he have to be at the Missouri State Fair? Canceling all appearances. He had more. So he had more than one appearance at the Missouri State Fair. I find that hard to believe.
He was probably going every day.
I don't understand.
He cuts the rib in.
It's just a way to get out of work, I guess. I don't
goes
know.
to the rib eating contest. How is that important? You have madness going on in a bad neighborhood of St. Louis.
Right.
That's more important. And then here's the other part that made me so angry.
Yeah.
The guy who runs Ferguson, their mayor wasn't there either. What are you guys doing? It's so.
Is the mayor hiding, or where is it?
This shows that they know that This shows that they know the cops shot him for no reason, and they're trying to keep quiet about it. And they're going to hide everything, and then once they come out with the official report, they're going to lie about a bunch of the stuff, saying the kid said he was going to kill him, or he was doing something illegal. I mean, they're going to make something up.
And then here's the worst part. These guys want us to vote for them so badly. They'll go door to door. They'll go to the local parades.
Those Bruce Rauner, Pat Quinn commercials. Those are awful.
I know. They're both idiots.
Because all the commercials are just a bunch of lies on one side, bunch of lies on the other side. It's just wow, way to make the people not know who to vote for.
And then here's the worst part. Once they get it in and once they make it in, you never see them at parades. You never see them in public because they're too busy in their nice house with their hot wife and their nice car and their huge salary doing nothing. If you're not there at the protest of this madness in Ferguson, which if I woke up from a coma and I watched that video, I would think it's Iraq. If you're not there at the protest, what are you elected to do?
Agree.
And if you're the mayor of Ferguson, why are you not there? What else are you doing in Ferguson? Eating at the local Hardee's? What's more important than not being at the protest, which is a national joke? He's so mad.
So he had a couple more tweets that he tweeted out. He tweeted these out about 12 hours ago, it looks like.
Yeah.
As the governor of Missouri, I'm committed to ensuring the pain of last week's tragedy does not continue to be compounded by this ongoing crisis. #Ferguson.
You should have been there when it was beginning. Then maybe that kid wouldn't have died. Now it's easy for you to say Governor Nixon once it's over with. But you were too scared to go out there because you are just a person who came from a rich family. Probably you went to a good school and you just slide it in as governor. So it's easy for you to hide. But when it's time for you to put on your big boy pants, you hide like a little schoolgirl in fourth grade.
So he goes on to say in a different tweet, situation in Ferguson does not represent who we are. Must keep the peace. Now hold on. Must keep the peace while safeguarding rights of citizens and the press. And those were his tweets.
I hope he made some more. Boy, those are great.
And then the worst part was we didn't have the printout of it, but I did retweet it at Hoppe Radio 893, and I will retweet it again.
Yeah.
The first one is him looking all, oh my God, what's going on? As he's on his private jet with his nice iPhone and what's that thing he was drinking? LaCroix?
Yeah, he was drinking LaCroix because he's a fancy governor.
And the tweet was
sparkling water. We don't just have regular water. We got sparkling water here.
I'm a politician. And the worst part was he's on his phone and the tweet says on the phone right now with the latest information. It's if you're such a good mayor, you don't need to have a tweet of you on the phone. Just do it.
I think he's trying to compensate for
for
what he didn't do the last 3 days.
And then here's the worst part. The other tweet was him in some church praying. This is you just trying to cover your back, dude, because you're embarrassed. You know you're a liar.
Well, then why is he praying? He should be there in Ferguson. What's praying going to do? Go to Ferguson.
So he does
not the problem.
Here's the thing. We don't know if God's real. How do we know what praying does? Actually go to where the madness is and do something. And
he should be doing that anyway. I mean, he should already. Well, he might be there by now, but I mean, he should already be there.
And then here's the last part before we go to break that got me so mad. No one's covering it. When I put that post on Facebook about Robin Williams, it got 34 likes because people can relate to it. But when I had a post about Ferguson, no one knew what it meant.
Right.
Because the media is not covering it. Unless you're MSNBC, the liberal side of the media, no one's covering it. CNN is doing diddly squat about it. Fox News did a diddly squat. The local news, nothing. No one's covering it. You get the news from Twitter. That's how sad it is in 2014. We are getting the news from Twitter, better than we are from CNN. We are getting the news from some webcam that had a live zoom in on it than we are from the local news. The people who are paid millions to cover the news aren't talking about it. What is wrong with you, Anderson Cooper? What's wrong with you, Fox News? No one's talking about it. What are you being paid to do if you are not covering it? What do you think?
Yeah, no, well, I agree with that. I think all the media and stuff. I mean, I have an interesting kind of take on it too. Is because the first time I heard about it, I saw like on Yahoo, it was one of the like most searched things. It said Mike Brown, and I was like, oh, Cleveland Cavaliers head coach. Yeah. And then I click on it, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with Mike Brown. Wow.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
This is a different Mike Brown. I mean,
the sad part.
There's probably a lot of Mike Browns in the world, but I just assumed it was about the Cleveland Cavaliers coach.
Everybody should know his name like we do Robin Williams. He's a 17-year-old that got killed by cops, and no one knows anything about it.
Or know his name like we do the mugshot guy.
Yeah. Ugh, I don't even remember his name anymore. Thank God.
I don't.
Here's my last point that I forgot to mention. The cops did the best thing ever.
Yeah.
They took in the reporters. They took them in for the night because they were taking pictures of it. Because those cops know they're so dirty. They don't want the reporters there doing it. So that's maybe why CNN and Fox News weren't there with it live, because they're afraid of getting taken in. When you are a reporter or you're a TV analyst, have some guts. Like, if
I don't think it was the reporters that were single-handedly making those decisions. It might have been the stations making those, telling them, we don't want you going down there if you're going to get taken in.
And it's sad. It's a sad day in news. It's a sad day in media. It's a sad day in everything. When the Hoppe and Super Rich show has more coverage and more in-depth analysis than you do, Fox News.
Coming up, the Hoppe and Super
Fox
Rich.
News never covers anything right, though. If they, even though they're covering it, they're probably making up a bunch of lies.
All right. Call the show. 630-785-2510. That is 630-785-2510. What is your take on Ferguson? What is your take on Robin Williams and his poor daughter, Zelda Williams, as she was getting taunted online? That's everything we've talked about in the last hour. What are your Twitter handles?
At Ryan Stuprich, STUPRICH.
At RRisky16.
I'm at Hoppe Radio 893. We will be right back on the Hoppe and Super Rich show here on The Edge. After this, do not touch that dial. And don't shoot each other, you idiots.
The Hoppe and Super Rich Show.
This is the EdgeOnAir.com, ICB Lombard, Chicago's unsigned music station.
This is an official broadcast of Hoppe Radio. For more info, check out HoppeRadio.com and HoppesWorld.com.